everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago. This week we're looking back at the hot comics from January 31st, 2025. I'm recording this on August 1st, 2025. As always, those dates are so you know when this information is actually relevant because the market is always moving and changing. Also, as always, we're looking back at the CBSI Hot Top 10 and the Comic Tom Key Collector Hottest Trending Comics of the Week. Each week they put out a list of 10 books that are moving in the market, that are trending, that are jumping in sales, jumping in value. And we come back 6 months later to see how they're doing. Should we have chased those books in the moment? What factors were affecting them then? What factors are affecting them now? Should you have been patient? Should you have dove in? So yeah, that's what we've been doing. We've been doing this for 6.5 years, which is insane. And yeah, we got 15 books to talk about, so we're going to dive in. You will notice as we dive in that there was no JP prediction for this week. This has been 6 months now since I had foot surgery, which is crazy, at least for me on a personal level, that it's been that long. But yeah, so no JP predictions here, just what happened. So let's dive in, see what we can learn this week. First up, we got From Hell, #1, hitting the list because rumors that we were going to get a remake to the Johnny Depp movie. Raw copies of this comic were $15 to $30. A 9.8 went for $4.50, which seems insane, but it did. Now recent sales, $5 to $15. No recent slab sales. I typed down and I'll be back. I actually wrote on my notes down in the trap, so because it's clearly a trap and not a borderline dumpster fire more than an I'll be back, but definitely down. No reason to chase this book in the moment there 6 months ago. Next, we have Dark Spaces Dungeon, #1 from 2023. This is hitting the list because it got option for a movie. Raw copies were only going for $15, which when you look at a lot of the option news books over the years, $15 is not that bad for an option, but this one is still now only a $5 book. Almost no sales here. Down in the trap. No reason to dive into this one either back then. Next, we have Captain Planet and the Planeteers, #1, hitting the list back then because we got the announcement that we were going to get a new Dynamite comic series coming out. Dynamite was going to start making the series again, I think in April or May. And yeah, so that's what caused us to hit the list, $10 to $15. Now it's $10 to $60, but that's because we got news of a live action movie earlier this month. So it was actually, if you go back before the movie announcement, it was probably going to be a down and I'll be back. The movie announcement has made this up in straight cash as there's a lot of sales around $40 here. So yeah, we talked about the market is always moving and changing. This was a down book from 6 months ago until about 3 weeks ago. And now it's an up and straight cash. So that is just the way the market moves, depending on your timing. Changes a lot when you chase some of these books. Next, we have Spawn #356, the Mark Spears cover. This one was hitting the list for the second week. Previous week, it had been like a 10 to 25. By this point, it was a 20 to 40. Now it's a 5 to 20. 9.8, it costs you 90 to 100. Down in a trap. This is one Mark Spears book. Still has some value. Don't get me wrong, but not nearly the value of during the peak of the Mark Spears love, which I think was January and February, although there's still a lot of Mark Spears love out there. Next, we have Hello Darkness, #7, the Jenny Frison polybagged variant because, well, you can guess what's underneath the little symbol I put on it so that I can still keep this video monetized. $10 to $20 for this polybag cover. Not safe for work. Now 8 to 15. So we'll call it a down and I'll be back, but not down a lot. It could have almost argued steady and I'll be back here. Not a huge market for this particular book, but it's still going for pretty decent for a new book 6 months later. Next, we have Venom #37, also on the list for the second week in a row. Last week we talked about it as being a $50 book, 9.8 going for $180. At this point, it was actually down from last week. It was like a $30 to $50 book, 9.8, $100 to $180, but still going for pretty good penny. Now it's a $20 to $35 book, 9.8, 60 to 85. Down in a trap. Dumpster fire borderline on the 9.8 side, but yeah, a cool cover of Venom Godzilla, I guess, is kind of cool, but not nearly worth, what the craziness got it, but still worth quite a bit. Really, when you think about it, a variant like this going for $20 to $35 is pretty impressive, really. Next, we have Fantastic Four, number 28, Marvel Rivals, Peach Momoko variant of Galactica and Jeff the Land Shark. So, yeah, this one was going for, last week when we talked about it was a 15 to 25. This week it was a 20 to 50. Now it's a 5 to 15. That's a dumpster fire. 9.8 is only going for $30 to $40. Not a big market for this particular book. Even with her dad coming out in the movies this last week. Last week. Next, we have Scarlet Witch, number 7. So apparently there was a bunch of these Jeff the Land Shark, also Momoko variants of characters hugging Jeff or Jeff hugging characters. This one was going for 10 to 20. Now it's actually a $20 to $25 book. So up and worth it. Not a ton of sales here, but yeah, it's actually going for a little more. So we got to put it as up and worth it. People love Jeff. That's, really what it comes down to is people love Jeff. Jeff is a very popular character, sustains values that you would not think based on his real usage in comics that he would, but his people love little Jeff the Land Shark. Next, we got Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, number 1, hitting the list. This comic series adapting the cartoon show. The cartoon was streaming at this point, was just starting to come out. I think we were in the middle of season 1 at that point. $10 to $15 for the number 1 issue. Now it's a $5 to $15 book. 9.8, 50 to 70. I put steady and worth it. You could maybe argue steady, I'll be back. But yeah, still pretty steady. Still a little bit of value here. Double cover kind of thing. Maybe triple cover. So yeah, people are still, the show I think was pretty well received. Not at like the X-Men 97 level, but still pretty well received. And these books are still carrying at least a little bit of value. Next, we have Uncanny XMen number 244. This was on the list last week because they were talking about Jubilee coming to Marvel Rivals. It was on the list again because there was also an additional rumor that she was going to be part of the first X-Men team when the X-Men came to the MCU. So there was a couple things going on here driving some interest. Raw copies going for 70, 9.8, 135 to 175. Pretty cheap, really, for the first appearance of Jubilee overall. Now, 6 months later, 10 to 30 on the Raw side. I don't know where they were getting $70 sales, but yeah, nowhere close. So that's the Down the Trap is completely on the Raw because that's the most of the sales. 9.8 to 150 to 165. So that's pretty much right in that same range there. But yeah, first appearance of Jubilee, actually a very affordable book if you're interested in that character. Next, we have Black Panther number 3. First appearance of a chibi. But I have no idea who this character is. I know nothing about this character, but there's rumors he was going to be the villain a villain in Black Panther 3. That was what was causing this to hit the list. $10 to $22. Now it's a $10 to $15 book. So down, I'll be back. On the low end, the fact that anybody would pay $10 to $15 for the first appearance of a chibi is stunning to me because I have no idea who this character is. So maybe I just don't know what's good. But this one seems kind of still surprising that we're paying this much. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 194. First appearance of Black Cat. Spider-Man 4 rumors. There were Sydney Sweeney rumors, but just rumors in general that we were going to get Black Cat. Since then, those rumors, a lot of them have shifted to Sadie Sink and others. But Sadie Sink has been rumored to be every possible female character in the Marvel Universe, so who knows who she's going to play. But causing this book to hit the list, 200 to 530 for raw copies during that they were reporting on, 9.8, 1850. Recent raw sales, 50 all the way to 400, depending on condition. 9.8, 1950. So really probably pretty steady, worth it, going for about the same price as it was back then. The big Spider-Man key goes for pretty good money. Next, whether Black Cat appears in the next movie or not. Next, did I double click? No, I didn't. Okay. Daredevil number 14, second week in a row. This was all post-trailer for Daredevil Born Again. We knew we were getting Muse. Muse was on the list. This was first cover, 35 to 60 back then, 9.8 up to 180. Now it's a $15 to $50 book, 9.8, 180 to 200. Did I type down and I'll be back? That should have been steady, I'll be back, because of the Raws. But, so, yeah, I typed that wrong. So, anyway, this one over here says steady, I'll be back. You know, sometimes I'm not great with the typing. But anyway, yeah, this has held up better than I would have expected post-show. People are still, Muse must have made an impression and an impact considering how the show plays out, but Muse is still going for decent value. Although most of the sales, I will say, are on the lower end of this 15 to 50 there, but there are a couple of $40 to $50 sales. So next we got Captain America number 25. Notice the first cover appearance of Muse goes for more, significantly more than the first Sam Wilson as Captain America. Sometimes I don't understand this, but hey, Rock Hobby's 15, 9.875 back then, 2 weeks before the movie. So there was not a lot of high hopes. I know this movie didn't really get rave reviews. Still 10 to 25, 50 to 75. So this is a steady and I'll be back, which is what the last one should have also said. But yeah, this is, you know, this is a pretty cheap book. If you're a Sam Wilson fan, this is a very affordable key if you like this character, for sure. Next, we have, and last, our last book of this week is Hulk number 1 from 2008. First cover appearance of Red Hulk. He does not actually appear in the issue. 75 back then, 230 to 300. Now 20 to 80, 175 to 300. And this is really based, my down here is really based on the raw sales because it's really going for about a $40 to $50 book, whereas the average back then was 75. So down and I'll be back. This also don't think lived up to what people were hoping for in terms of Red Hulk and in that movie, but there you go. So that is this week's list. Let me get that off of here. Let's do a quick look at the recap. 2 books up, 3 books steady, 10 books down. That Captain Planet and the Planeteers is our big riser, but that's because of news that just happened recently. It's what changed that, making that average more around 40 instead of 15. Decrease of that FF28 Jeff cover with Galactica down quite a bit. So those were how our books reacted. Our quick thank you to my members. These folks are helping me keep this channel going. If you're a member, you get a chance at giveaways at the end of every month, as well as you get early access to this video and any of my pre-recorded videos. So thank you to all those folks. With that, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next time. Later.